Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the Change Advisory Board register. I know on the screen right now you're looking at the service desk dashboard, and just a reminder that if you want to see how this is built, check out my previous videos. But when it comes to the Change Advisory Board register, if we click here under Auditor, we're going to see that the auditor is able to see the CAB register, which is compliant to SOC 2. Now, from here, the auditor will get an overview of what's been logged in that register, but then they could also go to the portal itself, and that is what we're going to look at today. Now, first of all, we're going to focus on the actual database. Now, to lead up to the point wherein you have the service desk dashboard, you've already got key components already in your SQL database. So when it comes to setting up the CAB register itself, if I just open up VS Code here, all you would need to do in your Superbase SQL editor is literally just copy and paste this whole SQL script, and it will do the setup for you. So it will add the extensions, add the tables, which is relevant for the change advisory board, audit logs. It's going to add the necessary triggers. It's going to add the row level security policies and all that. So copy and paste this whole script, run it, and you're good to go. So that will be the backend database side of things. Well, what we're going to do here, let's just say, for example, I am going to be a IT technician. So who can approve it? I'm going to say compliance, London.com. Okay, so from here, I'm just gonna keep this as normal. So it's change type is normal, risk level is medium. I'm going to say, let's say workflow update, and it's going to be a update the n8n work. Why is this necessary? There is a new approver. If I could spell, there's a new approver that has replaced the old one, and need to add the email address to the system. Okay, let's just add that. For now, we'll skip all this. Rollback plan, we could say restore workflow from GitHub repo. Okay, then the next thing is to set the schedule. So we'll say we're going to start at 10 o'clock, and this is not going to take long. So it's going to end at, let's say it's going to take us an hour. Okay, and then I am going to add my name. Okay, and this is all, what am I doing? This is all that an IT admin has to do, is fill in this information right here. And before I click submit, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to bring up n8n, and I am going to go to the executions so you could see this execute. So bear with me while I do some quick rearranging here. So I'm going to bring this up here and have n8n down at the bottom. Lovely. Okay, so we've got that information in here. We're going to click submit. Then we can see that it's been triggered. That also should show that it has been logged. So this is just the draft change request. So now that's been executed, and you can see that now the actual log has been captured. So if we click view, we could see here that this is the information that I just entered. Okay, now what happened in the back end is from the webhook, when we click submit, the webhook was triggered. We have a process here where it takes that information, and there's a couple of JavaScript codes there that just basically prepares the data suitable for the database. Then we've got this Postgres nodes here, which actually updates the database with that information. And then now we've got a switch node. Okay, now if I just zoom in and click open this form, so I'm going to go to the top. Remember how here we've got the change type. Okay, so we've got normal, standard, and emergency, and this is what this switch relates to. So you've got the standard, emergency, and normal approvals. As it was a normal approval, so we've got it here as well, type normal. It's gone down this route, and then an email notification is sent for it to be approved. So now the compliance manager will receive this email. So change authorization request. They'll go down, they'll see who it's from, they'll see what it is, so what the description, the justification, and any other information that's required. Now, from the email itself, they're able to approve or reject the change. So let's just say it's approved. So we could see this workflow trigger off here. So we're just going to click approve. And as you can see, that workflow kicked in. So let's click on that. I'm going to figure out why it does this pop up. But yeah, this is a bit strange, but never mind. The workflow executed, and it's this workflow down here. So it's got so let's zoom in a little bit. So what you can see here, webhooks come in, which was obviously approved. That information, that webhook data is then processed, and the approval is added to the actual database. And then you get a webhook response back. Now, if we're to go back into the cab register, let me just refresh this quickly. Okay, what you can see here, it's been now approved. So approved for me in this case to start the work. So I could go in here. Now it's marked as in progress. Okay, once that's complete, you'll also got here the post-implementation review. So you go in here and you'll just put in the outcome. Was it successful? Was there any issues? Did you have to roll back, for example? Who it's done by, and then the necessary information. What lessons can be learned, and this is a mandatory field. So there has to be some sort of value that you add here, and then you submit. And that just gets added to the database. Now, let's click to the editor, because this final workflow is the post-implementation report monitor, excuse me. And what this does, if we click into it, it runs every day. Let's move this up a little bit. There we go. It triggers every day at 8 a.m. Okay, and let's trigger this. So we're just going to trigger this workflow. It's going to go across, and then we're going to get an email, which is the post-implementation review digest. So if we just go back to inbox, what the manager sees, they've got you've got the overdue post-implementation reviews, which actions needs to be taken. Okay, so if I just go back here, you can see I've got a couple of overdue change request reports, and in here it shows how long they've been overdue. So 1.3 days, 6 days, 6 days, and obviously the reference, the title, and who it's been requested by, and the manager will reach out to them. Okay, so we've looked at the dashboard and the n8n workflows. Now, in addition to that, I've also documented everything for you. So I've got the complete build guide. All this you could download and get from the Governance Academy on the school platform. Now, I've got the build guide, as I said, that has the full database setup, just taking you through hand-holding you through the actual steps. So you've got all that information here. You've got the n8n workflows, what they do, the nodes, what nodes that you connect up, and so forth, even though you're going to have the JSON file with all that connected. So you've got the build guide, and also I provided the user guide. IT personnel should know how to submit change requests, but nevertheless, when it comes to this system, I like to have documentation for all my builds. So it will just tell you the change type classifications, the steps in which to actually submit a change request, the required fields within the form, the approval process, and even the actual post-implementation review and how that all works. And then you've got the evidence and exporting that actual evidence itself. So you get the dashboard, you get the workflows, you will get the SQL schemas, or schema, I should say. You'll just copy and paste this in, and this will all set everything up for you. And then you've got the relevant documentation. And that is the Change Advisory Board compliant system with the database being the vault. You have n8n and its workflows being the engine. You've got the carrier in terms of the notification arm, which is, in this case, it's Gmail, but you could use anything else. You could use Slack or Teams, etc. And then finally, you've got the front end, which is this front end dashboard here. All right. Until the next time, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.